You know, we here at MrRipper love to hear about other people's campaigns and the crazy things that you players do, or even still, the crazier things that DMs will throw at them. So, share what happened at your most recent session. What was your favorite moment? Where did the game leave off? Did you find any cool items? Did you, watch someone die? Did you watch them get eviscerated? Let us know down in the comments below. But before we continue, here's a little word from our sponsor, Erevan's Guide to Death and Beyond. Erevan's Guide to Death and Beyond is an upcoming 350-page tome of dark spells, unholy monsters, arcane craftable items, and undying mega bosses for D&D 5th edition. That answers one question. Can a party go on after a TPK? It's packed with plenty of new content and original mechanics like an undead grafting system, an undying ship that you can upgrade across your adventures, 8 new races, 10 mega bosses, and the profane lairs they dwell in, arcane familiars, dark subclasses, and everything you need to craft an accursed tale for your players to enjoy. Enter a world where the power of death is weakened. Watch your comrades fall, only to rise again as an undead, and embark on a campaign that takes your party from level 1 to level 10, shrouded in the horrors of a setting-agnostic story sure to grip your whole table. The Kickstarter is now live. Support the release to gain access to rewards like a free Liquid Core Soul River D20, superb discounts off the final release, highly detailed original miniatures, and more. Links are in the description below. A quick setup. The party had mixed it up with a group of Hobgoblin cultists, and they were fighting their way up the chain to get to the base and the big guys. Several sessions back, the Hobgoblins sent a group of assassins after the party to catch them unprepared in the woods as the party made camp for the night. 4 Hobgoblins attacked from different sides, while the leader lay in wait to jump out at a wounded player. That never happened. The party absolutely wrecked the unprepared assassins, who had no idea who they were messing with. B-Lock hulked out into hybrid form and ripped 2 of them apart by himself, while their swords and arrows did very little to his resistant hide. The leader never jumped out at anyone. The party just assumed that the leader ran away scared. Turns out he was taking notes. Flash forward to last weekend's session. The party are all level 5 now, and they had located the Hobgoblin base. 2 Hobgoblin sentries were standing outside the doors to the base, and the trees were cleared out about 30 feet from the entrance. The party got the drop on them, and the rogue took out the first sentry. B-Lock's turn. He dashed in and puts his horns right into the last sentry's chest using his goring rush. He connected, and the already wounded Hobgoblin sentry goes down on the first hit. The party got ready to search the corpses. This is when the assassins made their comeback attack. I had dropped a few hints earlier in the session about him feeling like he was being followed, but he couldn't pin down exactly who it was. This time, they didn't send the second stringers. The assassins were led by the same leader who was hiding in the woods the first time around. He led with 4 dart attacks because he's a Hobgoblin Iron Shadow. Then, a bugbear brute came charging out of the woods up to B-Lock and hit him with a critical hit. 2d8 for the Morning Star hit, plus another 2d6 because of surprise attack. Now double all of that because of the natural 20. B-Lock took huge damage in a single hit as the party noticed the other 3 bugbears emerging from the woods. On B-Lock's turn, he spent his action to do his hybrid transformation. His hit points had taken a big hit, and he wanted that sweet, sweet damage resistance. But it was a trap. It's a trap! The assassins were not after the party. They were after him specifically, and they wanted to bait him into transforming. As soon as he went hybrid, all the bugbears pulled out silver weapons and went to work on him. He was unconscious before the round was over. Suddenly, the party had a huge problem, because not only is B-Lock 30 feet plus from the rest of the group, He's unconscious, with a bugbear standing over him who has not yet acted on the current round. And 3 more bugbear ambushers, who the party now realizes are all looking to finish him off. The cleric and the bard both went into life support mode on Belok, while the sorcerer and the rogue tried to deal with the guys on the periphery before they could close on Belok and finish him off. In the end, everyone in the party survived, and the second assassin's team was defeated. Belok went unconscious twice and missed 1 death save before it was all over. The party, who was getting ready to take out 2 Hobgoblin sentries and bust into the base, suddenly had to take a short rest to hide the bodies and administer some first aid to themselves. And now, they know they need to destroy this entire Hobgoblin cult before they hire a 3rd team of assassins to make a run at them. That was insane and I loved it! And here is a bit of background. The party revived an ancient conjurer who had been entombed in a magical puzzle cave, only to learn that he was put into stasis because he was inflicted with a plague. The intent was to revive him when the cure was found, but his society of mages fell apart before the cure had been found. The party now know that they have a few months to find and create a cure so that they can have him as an ally. They hope to use his powers along with old magical relics to get access to the 8 different planes of magic, which they need to seal off so that a mysterious outside force can't access and feed off of the magic there. The party located the recipe for a cure, fighting off a mind flayer with hobgoblin thralls, and is now gathering resources in a city before going off to hunt for the ingredients. In addition, Purhe, the sorcerer cleric, lost her memory recently from a poison inflicted by one of the party's main nemesises. During the previous session, she went into a graveyard at night to meet with a witch who made a potion intended to help, in exchange for some of the parts of the mind flayer they killed. The witch warned Purhe that the potion would remain potent until the next dawn, putting a ticking clock on choosing to drink it or not. So this session was pretty much all roleplay, with some players discovering backstory nuggets for their personal arcs and establishing some other helpful relationships for their quest. The party visited their ally near the city, a rich guy sponsor named Lord Brightwood, who's a mystery they tend to get frustrated by. He also has a lost memory, which was recently discovered by the party after knowing him since the early sessions, and they wanted him to remember believing it to be the missing key to the plot's mysteries. They try to convince him to go to the witch, but fail in their persuasions. Purhe instinctively drinks her potion and remembers lots of things, including things she hadn't remembered before. Plot hooks! Whoa! She uses her special arcane focus, the Dream Key, which lets her detect thoughts once per day to try and figure out why he's resisting. He learns of his fear, and on probing deeper, he failed both saves, she learns it's tied to a letter that they discovered after breaking into one of his safes. She gets advantage on trying to persuade him, now realizing how important her own memories were and exactly what he's afraid of learning, and gets a very high roll and delivers a convincing speech. He admits that he may visit this witch. The party is very pleased with themselves and head to town, smuggling in some drugs they picked up from the hobgoblins that they hope to sell. Yep, great heroes, right? Hey, I wonder if it's blue. They head back into town, running into one of the town officials on the way, whom they had met with prior. He'd previously treated them quite rudely, thinking them a danger to his family and the locals, and apologizes because he's recently learned about the heroics they had done outside of the town. He claims to owe them a favor, and offers to escort them to town, unwittingly making their smuggling of drugs far easier. From him, they learn that a bunch of children that they rescued at level 4 have been brought to the town by a group of paladins important to the world's lore. They also try to ply him for information regarding Balasar, the monk's home in the region, which the official insists he can't speak about. Purhe assists the monk in intimidating him, and he agrees to meet with the party at a dive bar that night. The party heads to the monastery where the paladins are staying while in town and find all but one of the children. Even the child they saved, Tome of Beasts humanoid, after genociding the rest of his people. Still great heroes. Naya the rogue is most taken by this moment, as she had been somewhat of a mother to Nikosai, who is a Lionel. The missing child was the one they knew best, who left the very same morning to be apprenticed to the headmaster of an elvish academy that they had been hearing about quite a bit. The party speaks with the paladins and explores the monastery. Pierre writes a letter and packages some gold for the paladins to send to the missing child, and Naya arranges for the Nikosai child to be sent to her family, where he can be taken care of until her adventure is over, at which point she'll take care of him full time, baby. With all of that done, the party plans to head to a hunting lodge known as the Huntmaster's Quarry, where they hope to purchase some parts of monsters they need for the next plot item, the potion to cure an ancient disease. That's where the session ended off. Since our rogue had to work at 4 a.m. the next morning, damn, that's an early morning shift! And so we didn't want to go too late. On Saturday, we had our very first session for an undead fighting campaign set in a semi-homebrew world. We use Greyhawk deities and a few lore elements, but the locations and world history are our own. My partner and I cooked up together. This time he's the GM and I'm a player. We switch off throughout the year. I'm playing a lawful neutral necromancer of noble birth whose family has for generations been beset with rumors that they've been cursed by Ouijas. Her motivation for fighting undead is that she wants more specimens to study, as she's curious about the difference between undead reanimation and true resurrection, between the mind and the soul, etc. There was word that the town of Kinshire was being beset by zombies, and the Church of St. Cuthbert mustered a militia of volunteers to help. Well, our intrepid adventurers were included. When we arrived to the town, we did indeed find zombies, but we also found many mysterious mysteries. To wit, all the zombies were digging a giant hole in the town cemetery and ignored us for the most part, until we were an obvious threat, of course. Indeed, it seems that almost all the villagers managed to escape the church unharmed, as though the zombies weren't really after them. So, what were the zombies after? Later, we encountered some reanimated skeletons that had an arcane rune of some kind painted over one eye socket. This rune seemed to give the skeletons some combat buffs. Who painted that rune, and what does it mean? There was one villager, name of Harleton Cheston, who had refused to take refuge with the others and instead holed up in his house with his gun collection. When we went to collect him, we found him dead on the floor of apparent asphyxiation. But there was no sign of poison or strangulation. Additionally, he had a pistol in his hand, and there was a bullet buried in the doorframe, as if he had attempted to shoot an intruder. However, all the doors and windows were locked when we arrived, with no sign of forced entry. Who was he shooting at? Most mysterious of all, our ranger noticed a tan line on Cheston's finger that indicated a much-worn ring had been removed. However, nothing else of value, such as his gun collection in a world in which firearms are rare and expensive, was taken. Furthermore, our paladin discovered a piece of vellum made from human skin hidden in a barrel of gunpowder. Inscribed on the vellum was the sigil of an old god of death. Rudy, I believe it was, who hasn't been worshipped in decades at least. Was Cheston behind the zombie outbreak? If so, who or what killed him? Did the killer also take his ring? And if so, why? The excitement wasn't limited to these juicy mysteries. My wizard also should have died halfway through the first session by rights. We came across the body of the village priest of St. Cuthbert, who stood guard at the front of the church to protect the parishioners inside. The paladin didn't sense that he was undead, so my wizard went up to examine the body and determine the cause of death. I'm playing her very much like a medical examiner. Suddenly, the priest reanimated and went full exorcist, vomiting acid all over and reducing my wizard from 6 HP to 2. I scooted to a safe distance for the rest of the battle, or so I thought, because when the paladin chopped off the zombie priest's head, acid went splashing everywhere. I crit failed my dex save and took 9 more acid damage, which reduced me to -7. An insta-kill according to rules as written. When the rest of the party found out I was already dead, they took pity on me and decided to invoke a house rule that allows the party to, once per session, either increase a roll by 10 or reduce it by 10, if the party unanimously agrees and everyone takes a drink. Ooh, that sounds really fun! So they reduced the damage to 1. DM decided they couldn't negate it completely, which we thought was fair considering the house rule is pretty OP in the first place. And my wizard was just pretty badly injured. This is my first time playing a wizard. It's harder than I thought, y'all. Hey, at least you survived it, though. Hey everybody, Brian Von VA checking in after the vid. Make sure to leave a like, subscribe, ring the bell, and leave a comment down below letting us know about what happened in your last session. We definitely want to know, and it might make it in a video. We love you all. See you next time. Bye for now.